أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لقد أرسلنا رسلنا بالبينات وأنزلنا معهم الكتاب والميزان ليقوم الناس بالقسط. صدق الله العظيم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتخذوا اليهود والنصارى أولياء بعضهم أولياء بعض ومن يتولهم منكم فإنه منهم إن الله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين. صدق الله العظيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Before I proceed further, let me explain two things regarding my last lecture. I did apologize to the Yemeni brother that I gave those remarks. I want to add to it that things are not confined to any particular race or country. I must admit none, that now these days the most notorious people in Saudi Arabia are the Pakistanis. And I belong to Pakistan, so we must accept the facts. But you know, a country like Yemen, because they didn't have oil, they were poor people, they worked very hard in Saudi Arabia, and they were a very persecuted lot. Among them there were some wrong type of people also. But it was just said in those days, about 20 years back, when I performed my first Hajj in 1962. At that time it was a general saying in Saudi Arabia that among the Yemenis there are thieves. So that came to my mind and I just said those words. Second thing which I want to explain is that we have heard and we have read three very stern pronouncements of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْكَافِرُونَ وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْفَاسِقُونَ وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْكَافِرُونَ. And I said that if you look to the Muslims of today, most of us, they come under the, this judgment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What's the way out? What can you do? What can I do? How to absolve ourselves of this big charge? Well, I can't change the whole nation, the whole country. So what to do? So there must be some way out. The way out is there. If we decide that we shall all our life, we shall devote our energies primarily to changing this system and establish Islam, then personally it will be a kafara for us. We have not reconciled with this system. We are not cooperating with this system. We are not after money and property and so on and so forth. If we are devoting all our energies, capabilities, all time, except for the little that we need for only subsistence, in this world. You need something to eat. You need some roof over your heads. But the minimum subsistence level, we spend our time and money and capabilities only to that level, subsistence level, minimum, and reserve the energies and time and capabilities and everything to establish the deen of Allah, then personally we shall be absolved. This will become a kafara for us. That is the way out. Now let us proceed further. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu la tattakhidhul yahuda wal nasara awliya. Oh, you who believe, don't take the Jews and the Christians as friends. This is a very categorical statement. You can have business relations, you can have good social relations, but friendship is something else. Just as I told you, khulla, وَاتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ إِبْرَاهِيمَ خَلِيلًا. And the Prophet says, لَوْ كُنْتُ مُتَّخِذًا خَلِيلًا لَاتَّخَذْتُ أَبَا بَكْرٍ خَلِيلًا. In the same way, awliya, protector, real friends on whom you depend. And this is categorical. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu la tattakhidul yahuda wal nasara awliya. Ba'duhum awliya ba'd. They are friends to each other. They are protectors to each other. Now about these words, recently it came to my mind that actually when Quran was being revealed, this was not the condition. They were not friends to each other. They have been the Jews and the Christians throughout history. They have been bittermost enemies to each other. Then why is Quran saying this? Wherever the Christians had the authority and power, they persecuted the Jews. Wherever the Jews came into power, even about half a century before the advent of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so many Christians were burnt alive in Yemen by Abu Nawas, a Jew king. وَالسَّمَاءِ ذَاتِ الْبُرُوجِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْمَوْعُودِ وَشَاهِدٍ وَمَشْهُودٍ قُتِلَ أَصْحَابُ الْأُخْدُودِ النَّارِ ذَاتِ الْوَقُودِ إِذْ هُمْ عَلَيْهَا قُعُودٌ وَهُمْ عَلَى مَا يَفْعَلُونَ بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ شُهُودٌ. To which incident these ayat relate? So they have been bittermost enemies to each other. It was actually a prophecy for this time which was going to come. Jews slowly and slowly eroded the Christian society, entered it from the back door, like viruses. First of all, they divided them into Protestants and Catholics. Then they used the Protestants, they roared over them. The West, white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, they became the tools in the hands of the Jews. And now recently they have conquered the Catholicism also. When they could extract from the Pope the verdict